Welcome in to the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Scoreboard Show. Tune in as we provide all the scores and stats from around Middle Tennessee. The Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Scoreboard Show is sponsored by Southern Trophy House, Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes in Brentwood, Sir Speedy of Music City, Boom Baz Craft Beer and Pizza, and the Omni Nashville Hotel. And now to the Strike and Spare Studios for your host, high school sports legend Bruno Reagan and high school graduate Ray Dosky. If we can find a way to add Delvin McKenzie as producer into the open, that would be great.
Welcome to the Mid-State Post-Game Show here. I'm Ray Dosky. No Bruno Reagan here. And like the promo said, Delvin McKenzie behind the boards joining me here. Delvin?
Delvin. That was Delvin McKenzie, Eric said.
Oh, Delvin McKenzie.
That's what it's Devlin.
Devlin, but
every single week. Yeah, it's
Delvin.
Yeah. I think he does it on purpose.
What a game we had tonight here on WNSR, Ravenwood versus Independence. Ravenwood went down 38-14. But let's go ahead and strike for a scoreboard update here.
Scoreboard update from the Strike and Spare studio.
We're going to start going off with some of the games that have already kicked off. They're pretty much in the fourth quarter wrapping up. Oakland is all over Rockville, 49-7. Lebanon over Warren County, 28-7. Riverdale up on Stewart's Creek, 26-14. And they definitely need this game because if they win, they're in. They knock Rockville out. So this was a tied game, 14-14, going into the end of the third quarter. Now it's all 26-14 Riverdale. So we'll see what happens as this game laps up here. Grace Christian down Columbia 14. They're down in fourth quarter 14-0 to Columbia. Spring Hill going against Columbia Central. It's all Columbia Central, 23-14. Laverne taking on McGavock. McGavock 19-14. And a close one here in the fourth quarter. We also got Cookville taking on Shelbyville Central. It's all Cookville 47-21. Overton and Smyrna. It was all Smyrna for the first couple quarters. And now it looks like Overton's kind of come back a little bit. They won 5 straight during the season. They're down 24-20 leading into the fourth quarter. You also got a couple other great games going on right now. You got Hunters Lane down Station Camp 38-0 over Hunters Lane. You got White House Heritage and White House. Now the great thing about this game is that White House won 30-0 after a 3-4 start. They went on a 3-game winning streak, take the Rotary Cup, advances to the number 3 seed next week. It's what a great comeback during the season for Wayne County, or for White House, if you will, in that game. Brentwood still up 15-9 over Centennial with about 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Centennial went down, fourth down, unsuccessful, overthrown pass. Brentwood in a tight one. And I know that many people out in Ravenwood versus that Independence game, they've got their eyes on that. We'll hopefully be able to continue to keep those scores going as we lead on to this. Brentwood Academy 14-0 over Memphis University. Then you've got Westmoreland 28-0 over Harpeth. Waverly Central 33-22 over Fairview. That's actually a final. Franklin Road 45-21 over Good Pasture Christian. And Hendersonville got a couple penalties on the last drive. They looked like they were out and about. Now it's 27-21 West Creek over Hendersonville. Our very own Zach Williams is covering call. Maybe be able to call into the show a little later today. Then you got Green Hill taking on Mount Juliet. Right now, it looks like it's all Mount Juliet, they're up 13-12 right now over Green Hill. Another game that we got going on, McCauley 28 over Paul Pope, 28-21. And this is a crazy game. Lipscomb 70-0 over BGA, and it was like in the third quarter.
That's unreal.
Like, when are we gonna just like why are we still playing this game?
Wrap it up.
I just wrap it up. Nashville Christian, DCA, Nashville Christian 42-7. It looks like they're able to, they just with a team tonight. And then you got CPA taking down Davidson Academy 41-0. They host Boyd Buchanan in the Den next week as the playoffs kick off here. Smith and East, and a really tough one right now. Smith 15 over East Nashville 14. So that concludes your scoreboard update.
Now, for those who are listening, I'm very unfamiliar with high school football.
Oh, nah.
I know. I mean, I'm from Ohio. There's a lot that I don't know about this place. Obviously, I'm still learning. But with this Ravenwood and Independence game, I know there's a lot on the line currently with this Brentwood game. Can you let me know and the viewers know what's on the line for the end of this matchup?
Pretty much is rankings. We all want to finish the season number one, but you also get a home playoff game next week.
Okay.
So pretty much that's how it starts. It's kind of like the NFL or anything else, right? Well, not college football, but more so the NFL. You win, you get the top seed in your division. Guess what? You get a home playoff game, and that's what happens here. So right now, it looks like it's a tough one out there between Brentwood and Centennial, 15-9. It looks like it became a defensive game. Adam Fotani was able to get an interception. And then what happened after that? It was a short touchdown run, and they went for a 2-point conversion, and that's the reason why the score is 15-9. I want to say the game's almost over. I mean, it looks like it's about maybe 4 minutes left. I've been checking the updates through and through to see what's going on with that game, and it just seems like it's been all Brentwood High School defense. They've just basically held them in key moments against that Centennial offense. So we'll have to continue to see what's going on with that. We all know what the rankings look like tomorrow when the game closes up. So I got my eyes glued. I'm all over Twitter. I'm like, hey, there's got to be something here, But right now, it seems like some of these games are starting to lock up a little bit here, and others are not. So, yeah, right now it looks like the Coyotes now just went up 30-21 over the Commanders of Hendersonville with about 1 minute 47 seconds left in the fourth quarter. That might wrap it up for that game there out in Hendersonville. So it just seems like there's been a lot of blowouts tonight. It just right now McCauley just now is down. Like they just scored a touchdown, but now they're down 47-21. So it just seems how lopsided the games have been all night. Like it's been crazy. I mean, you see a couple close games, and then you see like these 50-6, 70-0. Like by the halftime is over. You don't expect that as the last game of the regular season. Now we all know Lipscomb Academy, one of the best programs probably in the country, led by Trent Dilfer. It's just wild to me. So I find that very, very crazy to see that. I mean, I don't know what to expect out of the rest of the games here. Riverdale looks like they're about to win that game against Stewart's Creek. They definitely need that game to kind of punch themselves in and to kick out Rockville at the same time. Can you imagine doing that?
So like, the question that I had, because you're right, a lot of these games are blowouts. 70-0 is it's unheard of. But is that typically expected? I mean, it's senior night for a lot of these schools, and I imagine on their senior nights they're going to have the games that are typically in their favor to win, maybe not by this margin, or is it usually the opposite, where it's the last game of the season and there's so much on the line that these games are usually always close? It's not really what I'm hearing right now, but it just definitely has me questioning what I came in expecting into this week.
When we look about the game we were talking about tonight, we were covering tonight versus Ravenwood and Independence, it looked like Ravenwood just had the more dominant offensive line. They were in a smaller version of Independence, and what were they able to do? Carter Pace was able to run for 4 touchdowns in the game. He had 200 yards tonight. Even though he eclipsed 1,000 yards, I felt like he eclipsed 1,000 yards in that game alone.
Yeah.
Like, it was just crazy in terms of that performance there. But you see some of these games, you just feel like, okay, some of these guys they're just that good. I mean, with Nashville Christian beating DCA 42-7, they clinched the Division II A middle championship tonight. And, I mean, the real game right now, Mount Juliet now is up 19-12 over Green Hill. And so
that's a dogfight.
And that's what you expect for the last game, because Mount Juliet is 5-0 on the in the conference, and they win this, they get the number 1 seed, right against Green Hill. Green Hill is 4-1. They're actually a good program. So
it's kind of a mix of both.
And it looks like Green Hill is about to score. They're like literally at the 9-yard line. You got a quarterback. Okay, so he decided a corporate keep. Now it looks like. No, sorry, it's Mount Juliet. Sorry, not Green Hill. Mount Juliet.
About third and goal.
About third and goal at the 4 of Green Hill with about 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And
they could put it away, right? I mean, there's time on the clock.
Well,
but you're right. I mean, momentum swings, and you're right. I mean, it's high school football. Anything can happen, but it seems like you can put it away right here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen swings like all through the entire season as we had the mid-state checkdown games week in and week out, where what was that one game we had that was like in the 60s?
Yeah.
Like, it was just crazy. And it just seems like it was a really back and forth. And I was expecting some of these games to be like that, like a shootout. Like, there's nothing for you to hold back. It looks like Mount Juliet just scored, kind of punches it in. Now they're up, 25-12 now, pinning the extra point with 6 minutes left. So
Green Hill has 3 timeouts. They can definitely get something done with an onside kick and a score, but it's looking grim.
yeah, and Green Hill has had a few turnovers and stuff like that in the game, so it hasn't been helpful. They haven't really helped themselves, much like how Independence didn't help themselves tonight, going against a Ravenwood team who would just completely dominate. Like I said, the first 5 minutes out the gate of that game, it looked like Independence was about to really give this Ravenwood team a fight. You know, they went down 85 yards, scored a touchdown, and then a turnover right on the next possession for Ravenwood. You're like, okay, but they weren't able to capitalize on a field goal. I think it was a missed field goal there. And then from that point on, it was all Carter Pace and Ravenwood, and they completely took the game from them.
I mean, right out of halftime, an immediate touchdown, and I think that swung the momentum pretty quick. And, you know, you talked about it during the halftime show. When you control the run game, you control the clock and you control the game. Yeah. It's simple as that. If you're not going to stop the run game, you're not going to compete in this game, and it showed today. And I think that goes for all teams in high school football especially. Right. I mean, it's simple as that. You run the ball all over the field, you control the game entirely, and that's an absolutely outstanding win, and Pace, good for that kid. Very, very impressive. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, did you hear his post-game interview? He's like, he didn't know how many yards. He's like,
yeah,
I'm just running.
I mean, when you have that many, it's hard to keep track. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Independence did not have an answer to stop him at all in that offensive line. It just seemed like that what did Ravenwood did? They just basically they just bullied this team around once they got into their tempo a little bit. It feels like they just kind of like, it's kind of like when you go into a fight and you kind of get like sucker punched a little bit. You're like, oh, I didn't expect that jab to come.
Right.
And that's what Independence did the very first 4 or 5 minutes of the game. And then what did they do? They just kind of just like controlled the pace, got out of their nerves, and they got into the game. They just literally controlled their nerves, got into the game, and they said, you know what? We're going to run the ball. And we're going to continue to run the ball until you stop us.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do in the postseason. I mean, if they can keep that up in the postseason, if they can't find a team that can stop that run,
I mean they're deadly. And then right now it looks like Clarksville just defeated Gallatin 28-7 to earn Region 7-6-8's number 2 seed. So it looks like some of these scores are starting to come in a little bit right now. So it looks like Versailles 41-yard touchdown run with Stewart's Creek. Not Stewart's Creek, for Riverdale. Sorry about that. Riverdale. Now they're up 26-14 with 7:19 left here in the game. But let's go and cut to a commercial break. Then we come back, give a shout out to our sponsors, continue the show. Back here on National Sports Radio.
Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike, Southern Trophy has been serving Nashville and Middle Tennessee for over 62 years. Southern Trophy offers a wide array of services like custom-designed awards, cast bronze plaques, etched crystal awards, laser-engraved corporate gifts, promotional items, merch, embroidery, screen printing, signage, and banners. Browse their entire collection online at southerntrophy.com or on Facebook at Southern Trophy. Feel free to give them a call at 615-256-7295. That's 615-256-7295. Southern Trophy. They do their best to help you recognize your best.
It's a Bill King Show.
Lane Kiffin. Let me get this straight. Bill, smooth-talking James Franklin just lost a quarterback recruit to Sun Belt Billy. Put him on the hot seat, Bill. The only thing James Franklin is good at is working the coaching carousel for a raise each year. He's really good at that. He's very, very good.
Weekday mornings beginning at 6 on Sports Radio 560 on 95.9 FM.
Slim's Tender Mac Bowls are back. We start with a 3-cheese blend to make our delicious mac and top it with chopped hand-breaded tenders and Colby Jack cheese. Try the Tender Mac Bowl meal or the Buffalo Tender Mac Bowl meal, both served with Texas toast and a medium drink. But hurry, they're only around for a limited time. Download the Slim Chickens app to order and earn rewards.
Greg Pogue back once again to tell you about Bongo Java, Nashville's oldest and most celebrated coffee company, now also located in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Reward yourself for surviving Nashville traffic with fresh, locally roasted coffee, classic handcrafted espresso drinks, and fresh baked goods all day long. And free Wi-Fi, so you don't have to work from home. Number 1 in customer service. You made it through the traffic. Reward yourself with a perfect pick-me-up at Bongo Java. Fresh coffee, delicious treats, great atmosphere. Open 6 a.m. until 2 p.m. daily. Bongo Java at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey Nashville, Ray here from Run With It. Let me tell you about our sponsor, Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House. And with 4 locations in Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Spring Hill, and East Nashville, they're your home for the best gourmet pizza and craft beers in Music City. Join me on Monday nights at the East Nashville location for poker night. And if you think you know everything, try Wednesday night trivia at both locations. Gourmet pizzas, craft beers, online at BoomBozz.com. Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House.
Sir Speedy is a proud sponsor of high school football on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. At Sir Speedy Music City, we provide commercial print, signs, and mailing services to companies all over Tennessee and actually all over the world. If you need anything like that, you give us a call, 615-832-9511, SirSpeedyMusicCity.com. We are a proud sponsor of high school athletics on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. Call us at 615-832-9511. Go to the web at SirSpeedyMusicCity.com or email us at print@SirSpeedyMusicCity.com. We are the official sign company of the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Game of the Week.
Welcome back to the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Scoreboard Show with a guy who went to Vanderbilt and a guy who's driven past Vanderbilt, Bruno Reagan and Ray Dosky.
Welcome back to the Mid-State Post-Game Show. I'm Ray Dosky. Alongside with me, as always, is not Devlin, right?
Delvin, apparently.
Delvin. I'm going to call you Delvin. Mackenzie behind the boards. No Bruno Reagan, as he is, like we've always stated on this show, he is the high school star. But let's go and get straight to a scoreboard update here. We got a few here.
Scoreboard update from the Strike and Spare studio.
There's a good one out there in Green Hill versus Mount Juliet. It looked like Mount Juliet was about to put this game away at 26-12, but with a little bit 6 minutes left, Caleb Carr with a just had a rifle of a pass. Takes it at about the 27-yard line of Mount Juliet. It looks like now Green Hill's been able to advance the ball now inside the 10, about to score with about 4 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. See what happens here. Oh, fumble pass. Quarterback runs it. Now they're down at the 3. So this game looks like it'll be decided. If they're able to score here and run, who knows what happens here. Another final we have. Yes, we have the final between Brentwood and Centennial. Brentwood holds on 15-9 against Centennial. Willicock was able to break up a Centennial pass in the end zone. And now the Bruins are in second place of the Region 7-6A region, which means Ravenwood gets number 1. Other scoreboard updates that we have coming in right now. We've got Stewart's Creek, Riverdale still 26-14 in the fourth quarter. Grace Christian going against Columbia. Columbia up 14-0. We've got Green Hill, like I just mentioned a few minutes ago. Mount Juliet, they're down 26-12, but they're threatening to score here, but there's a flag, so we'll see what happens as it continues on with the scoreboard update. Cookville taking on Shelbyville Central. It's all Cookville, 54-35, which is a crazy score there. Then you have Station Camp, 38-0 over Hunters Lane. Like I said earlier in the night, White House was able to beat White House Heritage 30-0, winning their last 3 straight to advance to the playoffs. And you've got Page 38-3 over Lincoln County. It's at the half of that moment. And then you've got Sycamore up, First Assembly Christian down 14. Christian County 48-14. Then you've got a final between Greenfield and Lake County 54-6. You've also got Oakland over Rockville 49-7. That game just went final. And you got Procone up. Actually went final 43-2 on Montgomery Central. And then a few other games that we have that went into final as well is Lebanon against Warren County. Well, Lebanon is up 28-7. They win up that game. McGavick, final 19-14. Winners over Laverne. Then you also have Smyrna, winners over Overton, 31-20. Then you got Independence and Ravenwood, like we said earlier in that. We're actually on this show here at WNSR. They were winners 38-14. They are the number 1 seed in that region. Then you've got Union City down by Huntington 27-20. Then you've got Hillsborough going against Wilson Central. That's a final of 45-14 over Hillsborough. And then it looks like it just went final. West Creek was able to beat Hendersonville 30-21. Westmoreland against Harpeth. That's a final there at 49-14 in Westmoreland's favor. Then you got Franklin Road, winners over Good Pasture Christian, 45-21. Very good Franklin Road team, by the way. And then you got Waverly Central. They down Fairview 33-22. And then the very last game here that we have going into that, like I said, was Oakland completely destroys No, I'm sorry. Brentwood Academy wins over Memphis University 35-7. That wraps up your scoreboard update. Like I said, man.
That's a lot of lopsided scores.
Yeah. Now, look, Mount Juliet just now they're up 26-19 with a little bit over 2 minutes left. Green Hill was able to score on a quarterback keeper, 2-yard touchdown run. Game is far from over, man. See, that's high school football. Look, 3 minutes and 29 seconds. That's a lot of time for Green Hill to do something.
I take back what I said. I thought maybe that
Mount
Juliet would take it, but
they don't even go for a 2-point conversion.
No.
Look, I mean, it's just crazy. So these are the games I expect the very last regular season game.
Oh, this is exciting.
Because around most of these games through the Nashville Mid-State region was pretty much senior night, right? I mean, that's pretty much how, the motto is in terms of when it's your last football game. It's going to gear towards the seniors and come out and do the little ceremonies and stuff like that. You got family loved ones, whatever, attending on your last night here at your high school where all the memories were created and stuff like that. But now looks like, do they go for an onside kick? I don't think they really need to.
That's what I was wondering.
They still got 3 timeouts. They both have 3 timeouts.
Right.
3 minutes and 29 seconds left. And it looks like they're about to kick off. Green Hill, that is, about to kick over to Mount Juliet. If they could get a stop here. Oh,
little squib kick.
Did he fumble? I wonder if he fumbled there. Oh, no, he did not fumble. He looked like he bobbled the catch, but Mount Juliet was able to recover the ball there. So it looks like that Mount Juliet is about to start on their 33-yard line. So it looks to see what's going on with that. I mean, a lot of time left here on this game. So, but, yeah, so high school football, man. You got to love it.
That's exciting.
It's exciting, yeah. But looks like we got our first guy coming on into us right now. We got our very own Zach Williams, who's calling the Hendersonville West Creek game. What's going on, Zach?
Hey, boys. How are y'all doing?
Man, we're in here just watching all kinds and listening to all kinds of high school football, man. Hey, talk to me about your Hendersonville team. It looked like they go off to a great start.
Yeah, so this is a tough one. This is I don't know if head coach James Beasley would ever come out and say this, but this was a game I don't think they ever planned on winning on purpose. They, for their region, was kind of set already no matter what coming into tonight's game. They would have been, had they won this game and Gallatin had beat Clarksville in that region, they would have tied, and Clarksville owned the tiebreaker in the region. So Hendersonville was going to be third going into the playoffs no matter what. So a win or a loss here really meant nothing for the Hendersonville Commandos. As a play-by-play guy, it's tough to call a game like that because you see obvious things where you're like, okay, why is this player doing this? Why is this happening here? But it more or less knew that the Commandos were going to be losing this game or winning this game. They were going to be third no matter what, playing the same team next week in the TSSAA playoffs, all the same. So Commandos were just trying out different people at different spots. We got to see a quarterback come in that we haven't seen in a while after injury, who was, if y'all remember, way back in the early part of the season, I talked about how there was 2 quarterbacks that they would go back and forth with. Caleb Sams got in after an injury since the Beach game, and him and Mason Baker were going back and forth again. And look, hats off to West Creek. They won a game that, frankly, they're not the better team than Hendersonville. It ended up finishing 30-21 in this one. Commandos on one drive looked like they were going to just run the ball down their throats, and then on the next drive looked like they had no idea what was going on. And I think that was a little bit on purpose, just like I said, because they had their playoffs already. Their ticket was already punched, and they already knew where they were going no matter what. And they're going to be on the road next week. Evan Mack didn't play in this game, who had been dealing with some injuries the past couple weeks, and they was smart to let him just not play. You didn't need him. Had he been on the field, the Commandos probably would have won by 30. But it wasn't a game they had to win. So let's try some new stuff, try some different stuff. If it works, oh well. If it doesn't, West Creek, is going to get their first region win, and that you could see for the West Creek side, the West Creek Coyotes, a group of kids who had finally got their first region win. They've had one throughout the season, but they weren't going to go into the playoffs, or they're not going into the playoffs. They got their first region win, and for a lot of those kids, it's their last home game last time probably playing football, and the amount of celebration getting that win over the Commandos, which I don't know the last time West Creek beat the Commandos. It would be a long time. That program has been dormant for so long, but the Commandos, West Creek, they got a win, and it was good to see the excitement in their face, but the Commandos are ready for next week, and that's where they're going to be looking at.
So let me ask you this, Zach. I was actually keeping my eye on this whole Hendersonville-West Creek game, and it looked like how you were just talking about a few minutes ago, like how they were about to run the throats. I mean, you had Payne running a 49-yard touchdown run to open things up. They went up 7-0, and it just seems like after that, they just offensively just could not get going. They a couple punts, what have you. Then they were able to kind of climb back in with a couple penalties. I think there was a horse collar towards, leading up to their very last touchdown to bring the game to 21-7. Eventually, with West Creek was able to kind of punt it with 3 points to take them up, and eventually winning the game 30-21. The whole slow start with the offense. Do you think that's a concern going into next week as this playoff starts for them?
No, because this is a little weird. I'll give you a little background here. I don't have the full answers to things, but the Commandos had a situation with personnel that was not on the team, but that has been resolved now, and now all those players are back. They haven't played in 5 weeks-ish in that time frame, and they got those players coming back now. So this was their first game back in it, so there was a little rust there, I imagine, a little ring rust, if you will. But also for the Commandos, they didn't, like I said, they didn't have Steven Mack. Steven Mack and Mason Baker are the entire offense for the Commandos. At the end of the day, that's really what we see. And with them shifting in and out, Caleb Sams at quarterback for Mason Baker, no Steven Mack, I'm not worried about the Hendersonville's offense. If those two guys are not in it next week, I'll be worried about it. But what we saw tonight, I'm not trying to downplay West Creek and their win, but this was essentially preseason game number 3 in the NFL, if I put it in that terms, where you might see the starters in there for a bit, but they're going to really change stuff up and try to figure out a few different spots heading into the real stuff next week for whoever they're going to play in the TSSAA playoffs. And I'm not sure who that is. I know Smyrna was on that board possibly. There's a couple teams that were on that board. I haven't seen the final results out of those games. That could have mixed or matched those. We'll have those, obviously, by tonight. Probably now all of it's out as I'm driving an hour back from Clarksville. I feel like Bruno right now. I'm driving from Clarksville back home, and it's just a nightmare. I appreciate Bruno a whole lot more now for what he has to drive. It's the most boring drive in Nashville is driving from Clarksville all the way down to Nashville, but I'm going to make it here on 2 lanes and nothing but trees around me.
So let me ask you this, Zach. Playoffs are here now. It's crazy how the regular season just wraps up tonight. It just feels like the season and the show, everything just started just yesterday. When you look at this Hendersonville team, yet to be decided about who they're going to be playing against coming up next week. If you're Hendersonville, who do you think if Hendersonville would like to play against next week? Who do you feel like they match up the best and worst against?
It's tough. Maybe Devlin or you could look this up while I'm riding. It's the same region that Smyrna's on. If you go to Coach T and figure out Smyrna High School and see what the region standings are, it's going to be the number 2 team in that region out of tonight's game. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure just because I don't know those. I haven't seen those programs. Now, if I take it back to last season, the Commandos and really all the Sumner County teams that made it into the playoffs, they pretty much wiped that entire region in the first round of the playoffs. Every team it was Commandos, I believe, it was Hendersonville, Beach, Clarksville, and Gallatin. They all went in and won their respective game against that region. And so I know there's going to be a bit of payback that's definitely in the mind. And we had Zach Womble on earlier today on the afternoon stretch, 4 to 6 for anybody, Monday through Friday on Nashville Sports Radio. And he was talking about it, that this game last year was so impactful for the Sumner County teams coming out of that region that it's going to be the adverse. I mean, Beach might be the only one that really does come out of it no matter what, because that team or that region's gotten so strong over there in the Murfreesboro, area where they're going to play these teams. So it's really up in the air. I mean, for the Commandos, I still haven't seen a team beat the Commandos when the Commandos are playing their best. The team that's beat the Commandos the most has been the Commandos, and I know that's very cliche to say, but they are a good unit and a skilled unit when they run and everybody does their jobs. They have the talent in the right spots to be able to corral teams on the defensive side and play bend don't break defense, and also on the offensive side to hit the home run ball, to be explosive, to be able to score the points just enough than what the defense is allowing on the other side. So they are a good team, and I would put the money on them for majority of the teams in the mid-state area when the Hendersonville Commandos are on their best day.
So it looks like right now, in terms of the Hendersonville team, they're like the top 4 teams is Beach, Clarksville, Hendersonville, and Gallatin as of right now.
Yes.
And you just said that
Yes.
that Hendersonville just locked up the number 3 seed in that Class 6A Region 5 game. And it looks like right now it's pretty much Beach and Clarksville will probably be the favorites here, as Hendersonville and Gallatin are both 4 and 5 overall on the season. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So I in terms of the playoff stuff, starts next week for you guys. I'm really interested to see. And I'm pretty sure you'll be out there covering out that game next week.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be wherever we're going. We're gonna see it. So it'll be a fun one. And like I said, it's just gonna be tough. No matter what, this game was always going to be one that was you hate to say that about a game tonight against West Creek. The game just didn't really matter.
Right,
that's the real side of it. But still, Commandos, they're going into the playoffs, and that's really all that matters. And we're all looking towards next week.
Absolutely. When you go into the playoffs, anyone has a chance, right? I mean, it's
Absolutely.
a new season.
Just need wins. That's all you got to look for.
Absolutely.
Play your game, and we'll see what they can do.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for the call, Zach. I really appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. You boys have a good night.
You too. That's Zach Williams, our very own Nashville Sports Radio, covering the Hendersonville game against West Creek. Like he said, game that they really didn't care about, didn't really need to win. Their playoff spot was already locked in, didn't care. It's kind of like either you want to compare it to like the Week 3 preseason game or the very 17th game of the season where you already know where you're number 1 or number 2, so you're in the playoffs. You just sit your stars down.
It's a rest week.
Yeah. So, but sometimes that can kind of bite you in the butt at the same time, right? Because you're like you talked about, there's a couple players that are coming back. They haven't played in a little while. They just got back after 5 weeks. How does that team look from that point on, especially if you're trying to gain momentum as you go into – because there's always 2 seasons when it comes to football, right? You've got the regular season, and then you got the playoff season, right? And if you get hot at the right time, and usually towards the end of the season, like White House was able to go on a 3-game winning streak right now after starting the season 3 and 4. They were able to lock up their division, and now they're the number 3 seed. They're a scary team in their division, in their region. So, it's anyone's game. But like we said, when it comes to playoffs, it's anyone's guess what's going to happen because, you just need to win. It's everyone starts 0-0 again. So, yeah. So we'll take it to a quick break. But before we go to a break, got to tell you about one of my friends over at Boom Boss. They're one of our main sponsors here for the Mid-State Checkdown post-game show, as well as my very own show here on Sundays called Run With It with myself, Pat Cook, and not Devlin, but
Delvin.
Exactly. Here on Sundays from 11 to 12. We're usually like the NFL kickoff show here every Sunday from 11 to 12. A lot of fun here. But over at Boom Boss, they've got 4 locations. You got East Nashville, you got Spring Hill, you got Murfreesboro, you also got Bellevue. The one I usually go to is over in Bellevue. It was over at East Nashville, where they have a ton of TVs, great tap house beer, awesome pizzas. I mean, anything you think of. And they have this big, massive cookie. You need to come with me one night when you get off of work. You go play poker together. We usually go play poker on Monday nights there. Mm-hmm. And it's this big, massive cookie. It's almost the size of a personal pizza.
Like scoop of ice cream in the middle of it?
3 scoops of vanilla ice cream with chocolate syrup. And the pizza's filling. It's super good. But, when I'm playing poker or whatever, of course, we're just having fun, whatever. You always meet new people when we go hang out there at the East Nashville location. And you're just kind of hanging out. And, after you devour, this massive pizza, then, you see these guys, eating these massive cookie, desserts. I'm like, where do you have room for that? And, I don't know, I'm just hungry. I'm like, and you're looking at these guys, they're, super skinny. I'm like, where's it go? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, how old are you? They're like 22. I'm like, well, there it is. That's all you know. But it's so delicious. It doesn't matter what you do. Great family fun. They got a personal playground there. They got trivia nights at the Bellevue location, East Nashville as well. So if you think you know everything, go check them out over at East Nashville as well as Bellevue, or check out their other locations, Spring Hill and Murfreesboro. That's Boom Boss Tap House and Pizza. Be back more here on the Mid-State Checkdown scoreboard here on WNSR National Sports Radio.
On air and online, Sports Radio WNSR, Brentwood, Nashville.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. San Francisco Police Chief Bill Scott says an attack on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband was no accident.
This was not a random act. This was intentional.
The incident overshadowing politics at a Democratic event in Philadelphia. President Biden.
When I spoke to the Speaker, she said that he's doing okay. He went to the hospital, was operated on, and he seems to be coming along well.
Paul Pelosi had surgery today for a fractured skull. A man's in custody. More complaints of alleged intimidation at ballot drop box locations in Arizona. Secretary of State Katie Hobbs, who's also the Democratic candidate for governor, sent the complaints to the Justice Department. A federal judge deciding not to prevent an armed group from monitoring outdoor ballot boxes in Maricopa County, Arizona's biggest county, saying it could violate the group's First Amendment rights. The Houston Astros hosting Philadelphia in Game 1 of the World Series tonight. This is ABC News.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs
and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner?
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hungered in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungeredInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Did you know there's a place where you can get good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates on home and auto insurance? Yep, and that place is, ta-da, State Farm. Here's the deal. State Farm agent Austin Hardy is your go-to agent in the Middle Tennessee community for the service you desire at the price you want. So stop shopping around. State Farm agent Austin Hardy has you covered. Call 615-810-9999 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Welcome back to the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Scoreboard Show with two guys who can't wear the correct size shirts. Bruno Reagan and Ray Dosky.
Welcome back to the Mid-State Checkdown post-game show. I'm Ray Dosky, and alongside with me, as he is every week, Devlin. I'm going to call you by your real name.
I appreciate that.
Devlin
Thank
McKenzie.
You,
no Bruno Reagan with us this week, but he'll be back next week as we start to cover the whole high school playoff games. But looks like we got one of our friends who was actually covering the game out in Ravenwood versus Independence. Our very own Greg Pogue. What's up, Greg?
Hey guys, how you doing, man? Just listening to you on the way home.
Yeah, we're here hanging out, just trying to do some scoreboard updates. Just to wrap one thing up, just a few seconds. Now Mount Juliet just actually decided to go ahead and win this game against Green Hill, 26-19. So they actually won their region as well tonight. So that's another final right there for you. Greg, let me talk to you about this whole Ravenwood team. We know that Brentwood just won. So, right now, the rankings are as what? Between Centennial, Independence, Brentwood, and Ravenwood.
Well, they all went into this 3-1.
Right.
Ravenwood with its win, its one region loss was to Centennial. It had beaten Brentwood. So with Brentwood's win over Centennial, Ravenwood is the number 1 seed, the region champion. Brentwood is 2, Centennial 3 because of its head-to-head win over Independence in the 4. And, it's, a lot of, probably more pronounced for this region than a lot of regions because West Tennessee has only got one region of 6A football, and that's the Memphis region, and there's two others here that could have been geographically sent that way, the Clarksville region or the Williamson County region 7. So it's even more important to be a 1 or 2 than a 3 and 4 in this region because of, you've got an all day long trip, a charter and everything with that. Ravenwood, interesting team. Will Hester won the state championship there in 2015, left to start the Nolensville program, got that up and running, went to Florence, Alabama, their head coach, now his second year back at Ravenwood. Selfishly, I would have liked to seen this Ravenwood team with quarterback Chris Parson, originally committed to Florida State, decommit, now headed to Mississippi State. He was not playing, and they're going with a freshman quarterback. And so they're going to run the football. They're going to shorten the game, run the football. They knew they could. There wasn't anything fancy. I heard you guys talking. I mean, they just knew that straight ahead power football is all they needed to do. Maybe break some play action. They didn't need to throw the football around very much at all, and that's what they did with Carter. With Rush doing I guess 200 plus 4 touchdowns as well. Carter Pace, excuse me. And so they did what they had to do to win tonight, and they got the break with Brentwood beating Centennial, so they're the number 1 seed, region champion. And they were probably the best team in this region, certainly when Chris Parson was playing.
So you were talking about Ravenwood in terms about them being able to impose their will against this team tonight, against Independence. When we talk about this Ravenwood team led by Carter Pace in this rushing attack, I mean, they're a serious threat in this region. Is it fair to say? I mean, because when you look at their record, they're 6-4 compared to where Centennial was 8-2, Brentwood 6-4, Independence now 5-5. This Ravenwood team is very dangerous. This is safe to say in terms of being able to possibly advance and continue on in the playoffs. Is it not?
Well, yeah, and 2 of those losses out of region. One to Montgomery Bell Academy, the other to Oakland. And even though Oakland did lose to CPA a few weeks ago, they've outscored everybody they played since 160-13. So Oakland, NBA, Lipscomb Academy are the 3 best teams in the mid-state. Okay? Oakland Public, and then NBA and Lipscomb to the privates.
Right.
But overall, and so two of those losses were those teams. Will Hester he knows how to win at this level. Certainly, what he did there before with Ravenwood. There's really nothing, fancy. They're not. Obviously when they had Parson, they would throw the ball around, more spread, more of that. But now knowing what they've got to do, they've got a freshman quarterback who still wears number 85. I mean, the only thing they want him to do is turn around and hand that ball off, take care of the football, make a few throws here and there, and let's get out of here with a win. And that's what happened.
So is Ravenwood they go against Brentwood next week? Is that correct?
No. They will be matched up with Region 8. So the 4th place team in Region 8 will go to 1, Ravenwood. The 3rd place team in Region 8 will go to number 2, Brentwood, and then 3 and 4, Centennial and Independence will go on the road to that corresponding region. So everybody, in all levels, everybody's got a corresponding region, right. 1 to 2, 3 to 4, on and on and on. So if you're the number 1 team in 3, you'll host number 4 and 2 and 3 and vice versa all the way through.
So it looks like
so the top two teams in the region host the corresponding region.
So it looks like looking at the Class 6A Region 8, it looks like it's between Germantown and Collierville. That's what it looks like on here.
Yeah.
So it looks like, actually it could be anyone because Barlett and Houston, they're all separated by just 1 loss in that region. So it's pretty much.
Well, Ray, I'm going to tell you right now, you can, tomorrow morning on Prep Football Talk, Craig Ladd, he's been part of it, and Coach Bubba Spears, we will have all of the pairings. Actually, it's Craig Ladd working on it while I sleep. Okay,
absolutely.
But we'll have all of those in the morning on Prep Football Talk at about 8:15 tomorrow morning.
Fantastic. That sounds great, Greg. Well, we'll all be tuning in. Thanks for the call, buddy.
All right. See you guys.
Have a good night. That's our very own Greg Pogue, who was actually calling tonight's action between Ravenwood and Hennepin. It was a great game out there. Let's go ahead and just do another final scoreboard update as we wrap up the last regular season show here on WNSR as we lead into the playoffs coming up next week. Let's go ahead and do just that.
Scoreboard update from the Strike and Spare studio.
For the very final regular season scoreboard update here on the Mid-State Checkdown post-game show, we'll go start with Dyer County going against Kingsbury. Dyer County 48-26 right on the half. Sycamore up winners over Joe Burns 20-12. You've got Lake County beating Greenfield 54-6. You've got White House defeating White House Heritage 30-0. Like I said earlier tonight, on a 3-game winning streak, going hot into the playoffs. You got Trousdale with big winners over Watertown 21-7. Stewart's Creek goes down to Riverdale. Riverdale 33-14 over them. They're able to punch their ticket into the playoffs. You've also got Oakland winners over Rockville 49-7. Then you've got Procone winners over Montgomery Central 43-2. You've got Montgomery Bell beating Knoxville Catholic 56-24. And you've got Central losing to Monterey 35-2. And you've got Page big winners over Lincoln County 38-3. Lebanon big winners over Warren County 28-7. McGavick winners last night final 19-14 over Laverne. You got Overton going down, losing to Smyrna 31-20. And you've got Milan winning at 42 over Jackson Side to 0. You got Independence on this game of Radio against Ravenwood. Ravenwood punching the number 1 seed in the region 38-14. Talked about that with our very own Greg Pogue a few minutes ago. Be able to check that show out. Talk about the seedings tonight, tomorrow on Pet Football Talk. Kicks off at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning here on the station. In Hillsborough, down from Wilson County. Wilson County 45-14. We had our very own Zach Williams covering the Hendersonville Commandos taking on the West Creek Coyotes. West Creek was able to win 30-21, but Hendersonville already punched their ticket in as the number 3 seed in their region. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. You got Franklin Road beating Good Pasture Christian 45-21. And then Montgomery Bell. No, sorry. Not Montgomery Bell. I already went through them. I'm trying to go through scoreboard updates here. Union City down by Huntington 27-20. And you've got Hillsborough losing to Wilson Central 45-14. And then you got Westmoreland beating Harpeth 49-14. Green Hill, like I said, just called a few minutes ago. They lose to Mount Juliet 26-19. Mount Juliet wins that region as well. Franklin Road, big winners over Good Pasture Christian 45-21. Franklin County losing to Knoxville, Nolensville 21-7. And then the very last game that you have tonight is Nashville Christian winners over Donaldson Christian 42-7. That wraps up our mid-state post-game scoreboard here on the show. Devlin, you will not be here the next 2 weeks. You will not be here to wrap up the season for the show.
I got a busy November, unfortunately.
Hey, we all do. But as much as ever, we can't wait to do this next year. Can't believe the regular season is now over as we go into the postseason, where it's anyone's game. You just heard about it from Greg. It's either going to be MVA or it's going to be Oakland or it's going to be Lipscomb Academy. I mean, we saw Lipscomb Academy winning earlier tonight, 70-0. And just crazy stuff.
Unheard of numbers.
Yeah, unheard of numbers. But that's high school football here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now it gets real. Now it gets really real in terms of who's going to really step up to the plate. We talked to Zach about his Hendersonville team, talking about some stars who haven't played together for a couple of weeks. They're going to go into this next week. Hopefully they can get themselves more into sync because we talked about it a few seconds ago about how this is where you need to get hot.
This is make or break.
This is make or break. I mean, it's
now
zero.
or never.
Everything is 0-0 now for the top 4 teams for each region. That's 0-0. So, we'll see how far it goes and stuff like that. But, I'm excited to see what happens. Like I said, I've had a lot of fun on here. Next week you won't be here. I'll be producing.
Yes.
With the high school star.
Yep.
Oh, boy. I'm looking forward to that. I cannot wait for that. So, that's just how it's going to be. And, before you know it, the season's over. So we got a couple more weeks of this here on the show. But, hey, enjoyed having you on here, man.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I had a great time.
Yeah. Can't wait to do it next year. So, for Devlin McKenzie, I'm Ray Dosky. This is Mid-State Post Game Show. See you guys next week.
You've been listening to the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Scoreboard Show. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Southern Trophy House, Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes in Brentwood, Sir Speedy of Music City, Boom Baz Craft Beer and Pizza, and the Omni Nashville Hotel. And make sure you're tuned in next week to the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Scoreboard Show on Nashville's home for high school football, WNSR Nashville Sports Radio.